My name is Lauren, and I'm a speech-language pathologist at ICAN. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the difference between speech and language. Speech and language are terms that people often use interchangeably when they're casually talking, but when it comes to understanding your child's communication development, they're actually very different. So to start, I'll use an overview of what needs to happen every single time you say something out loud to kind of understand what the difference between speech and language is. So let's say I want to say, I want an apple. First, I just need to have that idea of there's this thing, an apple, and there's this concept of wanting something, and I want this thing. I haven't put any words to it, I haven't said anything, I just have this idea. That stage is really just your cognition. So next, your brain needs to take that idea and map it to words. So my brain needs to realize that there's symbols, words, that represent this idea that I have. So it figures out these words, I want an apple, convey this idea that I have. Still haven't said it out loud, this is all just happening in my brain. Now that I've got that phrase though, I want an apple, my brain starts to make a plan of how it will move my face muscles, my lip muscles, my tongue, and my jaw in order to say that phrase. Next, my brain goes ahead and finally activates those muscles, and I go ahead and I say, I want an apple. This last step where I actually go ahead and I produce those sounds is speech. So from thinking about this overall process of communicating something verbally, it's clear that language and speech are different. So language refers to the overall system of using spoken language, written language, gestures, and signs in order to communicate meaning or communicate these ideas that we have. Speech is the actual production of verbalizations using those sounds to communicate the language that I have. So your child can have difficulty with speech, language, or both. If a child has difficulty with language, that might look like a child that can say their sounds perfectly, but they could have trouble understanding what other people say to them. So maybe they have trouble following directions or answering questions, or they could have trouble with language themselves and expressing themselves using language. So that might look like grammatical errors or having a lower vocabulary than is expected. If a child has difficulty with speech, then that looks like errors in the actual sounds that they're making when they're talking. So a child could substitute sounds or distort sounds or completely eliminate sounds from the words that they're trying to say. Like if a child said top for stop, that would be a speech error. Or if they said wed for red, that would also be a speech error. It's important to know that errors in both speech and language are expected as your child develops communication, but at different ages, there's different expected errors. So it's important to check in with your physician or speech-language pathologist to learn about developmental milestones and what's expected for your child at different ages. Thanks for listening.